students and for making yourself available in terms of opportunities that you can perhaps create for a new generation of young accountants and aspiring professionals. But in particular to students. I mean, I work with students every day, as you know. I know how hard it is for you to take time out of sitting outside or going out with your friends to come and sit and talk about something that might only affect you in some time to come in the future. I think you being here means, or shows me at least, that you've got some ambition, you've got some proactive approach to your life and your career. So that's very good. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm meant to be talking to you and introducing today's proceedings, but it's a very hard thing to do, right? It's a career day. Career days mean many things to many people. For most, it's a case of, can I speak to someone who can, like Mr. Esop said earlier, help me secure some kind of employment, whether that be short-term, VAC work, articles maybe if you're doing PGDA, and try and hope this is maybe like the first step in your career, so to speak, right? But I think for me, I've got a slightly different message. You already know why you came here, you already know why you want to be here, so I'm not going to touch on that. I need to speak a little bit more about the world we live in, and when I say the accounting profession, I mean everything. Like, you always see, like, I mean, there's tax this side, there's accountants, auditors, consultants, tax consultants. I know it's like, I don't want to offend anybody's profession. So when I say accountants, I mean everything, right? The big four plus whatever else. Is that fine? Can I use that terminology? So I'm in a room of accountants this morning, and it's intimidating. It's not often that I'm intimidated, but I'm intimidated right now because accountants are always the clever people in the room. They're the ones that make sure that the world doesn't fall apart. But I want you to just think along with me for just a few minutes and just try and locate where you are and where you're going to in your profession. Again, accountants being the catch-all term for all the related fields within accounting. Most people think that accountants are very cold people. Is that a fair characterization of how people see you guys? Huh? Like you guys are very transactional. I mean, literally and figuratively. Tell me if I'm going wrong, but this is just my perception of how people perceive this profession. Very cold, very transactional, black and white, no gray in between. It is what it is, and it has to remain what it is. Is that right? I like to look at body language. Is that right? Or am I wrong? Kind of right, huh? If I'm wrong, that's okay. But what people don't often characterize accountants as, they don't ever look at you as the people that influence and change society. Am I wrong there? Surely I'm not wrong. They don't ever look at an accountant and say, oh, that's a change maker. That's someone that's going to really influence the way the world works. And we need to start debunking that problem, or that statement. Because I think that statement is problematic. When accounting started way back when, I don't know, anybody knows when accounting, the profession started, like the first person to record, I don't know, a transaction, a journal entry, or a T account, or whatever you guys do. Anybody know the history of it? I don't. I should have checked it out before I came here. But the history of it all would have probably been something along the lines of the following. You had people doing business somewhere, or people doing things together, and there was some deviant behavior taking place. Either people were making lots of mistakes, and you needed to find a system or way of stopping those mistakes from happening, or there was a lot of unethical behavior going on, and somebody needed to put a stop to it and said, we need a system to put this to bed. You agree with that statement? Is that like a fair way of characterizing how accounting would have started at some point in history? Now, if that's true, that means that accounting influences culture and society more than anything. Do you agree with that now, surely? Because people are doing stuff, they're doing it wrong, either deliberately or by mistake, and then somebody needed to do something that will say, no more. And the way to do it is the system of accounting. And then in history and time gone by, thanks. And in history and time gone by, somebody started thinking about it more formally and said, we need these rules, and the rules need to be more uniform no matter where you go in the world. And then in the good old days, for those of you who are experienced enough, you'd have come across something called GAAP. And then GAAP was working for a long, long time, and then somebody said, now we need something called IFRS. And then is there like an IFRS 2? I don't know. If there is one, I think we need an IFRS 3. I think this profession needs an equivalent, another version of, we need to stop the bad behavior that's going on and we need to have a new system to stop this stuff. Because this profession does influence culture. This profession does influence society. It doesn't live in a vacuum somewhere on the one side and everybody else lives on the other side. I think it's a deeply integrated profession. I think it's a profession that holds the real potential to make a real difference in the lives of people that matter. Now, particularly for the people sitting here, students and aspiring accountants, that responsibility falls on your shoulders primarily. You cannot enter this profession solely to just make sure that the books balance. It cannot be that you just learned how to use AI to make sure that all your stuff works, and in the past, the more experienced people on the other side of the room were doing it manually or using Excel, and now you found a better tool to do it. That cannot be the sum total of your career. If that's the goal, then do you need education? Do you need education? And then it brings up a different question. Why get educated? If all of this stuff is easily done by non-educated people, I nearly said uneducated, which is a very bad term, but non-educated, let's say non-formal educated people. If they can do it for you, then why come to an institution like REGENT Business School? Why go through the process of finding back work and articles and networking with professionals who've been there and seen it and done it before? Why do all of that? It's because the hard skills of accounting can be done robotically nowadays, largely. But it's in the soft skills that supplement those hard skills that no machine can ever do, and that's you. So right now, early on in your career, in fact, if you think your career hasn't started, believe you me, it has started. Don't think of studying as the university life and in the real world somewhere else. There's no such a thing as the real world. You are in the real world. And if you are in the real world, then you need to start thinking and feeling and behaving accordingly. And what does that mean? It means a lot. And I'll be brief now because I don't want to steal your thunder, right? 3 things that I want you to think about. Your moral and ethical compass and code that you live by on a daily basis has to be so strong, has to be so correct, has to be so, it should be able to stand up to the strongest inquiry from anybody. And the easiest way to measure that, and it's a famous saying, many of you know it by now, do the right thing even when nobody is looking at you or when nobody can see. So if you can take care of that, then you already got one leg of this thing to sort out. The second thing, the issue of sustainability in our society does not rest with people who are working in ESG circles, ESG consultants, and what do people call them? Tree huggers. It's not the job of a tree hugger. It's the job of an accountant. Sustainability is your responsibility. Again, I'm emphasizing very clearly to you, the accounting equation, as he mentioned it, and the balancing of books, machines can help you do that. Your actual value that you bring to the table is about understanding, how do I take people's businesses and grow with them? Be a partner in people's businesses. Be a partner in growing and protecting the environment. So that's your second thing. Your third and your last thing, I'd like you to think about it very, very carefully. Where are the entrepreneurial opportunities in and around accounting? Now, I understand that if you want to become an actual CA or you want to become a AGASA or whatever the designations are, whatever your goal is in this profession, I know for many of you it's not to become an accountant. For many of you, you might be doing a BCom and accounting is part and parcel of it and you're here today for some other purpose. That's okay. But largely within this profession, there are established norms and rules that one needs to follow and comply with in order to be successful, right? Go through that process. Definitely, that's why today is happening. We're encouraging you to go through that process. But once you've been through that process, or if I can even phrase it slightly differently, while you are going through that process, in parallel, start to think about the entrepreneurship opportunities that face you, that stare you in the face. We don't need necessarily more accountants, I don't think. We can find stats on whether or not we have a shortage of accountants in the country. I don't know if we do. I suspect not. And I judge that by the number of people applying to become accountants. Like, surely that's enough now. Like, there's an oversupply maybe. So how do you take the skills that you gain through REGENT Business School, through working with partners that you see on the side, how do you take those skills and become a job maker rather than a job taker? Does it mean you need to become a competitor to these people? Maybe. Maybe that's an entrepreneurship thing. But there's a lot of different new emerging opportunities within entrepreneurship that will enable you to become successful, whatever successful means to you, far quicker than you originally thought. And so I want you to focus on your creativity. That's my last point. Don't think of yourself as what do they call them? Bean counters in the old days. Don't think of yourself as a bean counter. Think of yourself as a farmer that grows beans. That's the creativity that I think many people think accountants lack. They think accountants are not creative people. Like I said earlier, very transactional. Is what it is, gray and white, black and white without any gray. And I want you to start creating gray. I want you to start living in the gray. I want you to start forcing people to believe that there is a gray, showing them, not just telling them, showing them that this is the gray and I'm very comfortable being in the gray. Is that fine? Is that like an okay introduction for today's proceedings? Is there anything else you want me to touch on from an introductory perspective? Not often do I ask that question in an intro. Anything else? You guys comfortable? Are you fired up? Huh? Don't sound fired up to me. Can I leave you in the hands of my colleagues? Maybe he'll fire you up a bit more. Mr. Esaf, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be speaking to you throughout the day. Enjoy your day. Thank you.
Thank you. Just ask her deeply on the way out to bring me those forms. She knows which form. She's got it with her. Okay. All right. We're going to do a very quick exercise. Everyone's got pens, I'm sure. You all came to study today. Okay. So I'm going to give you a 10-minute exercise to do while we wait for our guest, and then as soon as our guest comes through, give everyone out, please hand out Dipte. Just give a batch, they can pass it on, Dipte. If you've done this already, you can skip it, but it's a small sort of personality trait test that we're doing quickly, right? It will take you less than 10 minutes to do. And you will notice, okay, so let's time the 10 minutes. It's now 9:19, so at 9:30 we're going to stop. So you've got 10 minutes to complete this thing. Maybe the guests can also do it. They may get a life-changing moment as well. So we've got extra for guests, we can give it to them as well. Anyone's got extras? You want to fill in on page 2. You want to fill in on page 2. Take one there. Thank you. Thank you. So on each row, you want to only select one option, option A or B or C or D. So each row you only tick once. You see the sound is not coming out too loud. Any reason why? You're going to change the view later, or is it wide enough to capture everyone? Have you got one of these? Or you've got yeah. Dipti, maybe let's just drop the temperature a bit. Hi. No? I'm okay. Hmm? Yeah. This one. Okay, this is like exams, 8 minutes left, but you can finish quicker. You don't need to return the forms. The forms is for you. It's confidential, so we don't need the forms. All right, so 5 minutes. 5 minutes. If you've done, we can finish up quicker. Yeah, let me know if you're done. Give them one as well. Come sit, come sit, sir. Give them forms here. Dipti, give the forms to them. The forms that you got. The forms. Yeah, give them. Everyone done? right. So we don't have to spend too much time on this, but on page 3, there's sort of an analysis there. These are one of many tools that are available on the market. This is not the only tool. So if you show blue, please do not go out and commit suicide or anything like that. That's not the purpose of this form. It's meant to just highlight some aspect of your character traits that may help you in understanding who you are. It's something similar to the Johari's window. You people have heard of the Johari's window? Please write that down somewhere and go and explore what is the Johari's window. We'll do that exercise the next time we meet. It's a really interesting exercise. But basically, the Johari's window is an exercise that gives you insight into what you know about yourself, what you think you know about yourselves, what others know about you, what you don't know about yourself, and what others don't know about you. It's a very interesting exercise, the Johari's window. Please do that separately, not in the class. I'm not going to go through this. This exercise is not meant for today's session, but I thought it's an interesting thing. However, I want you to take note of the logo on the top left-hand corner of the front page. It says Employability and Career Services Unit. And maybe if you look at the last page in particular, there are 3 services that the unit is offering. Dipti is part of that. And the other colleague is in Durban. Her name is Nombulelo. They head up the Employability and Career Services Unit. Very soon, we will be launching a platform for you to apply for job shadowing and jobs and opportunities, etc. Keep an eye out on that. So I'll be advertising that, and you guys can start registering on the site if you are looking for work opportunities. However, there's 2 things in the back here which I think are really fascinating. One is the CV Writer app. App developed by Regent for you to help you to craft what we term a winning CV. So you've got your own CV, fantastic. If you've paid for it, all the better. But if you haven't yet got a CV, then use this tool. It's free, and there's someone sits in the back that will guide you in terms of making corrections, etc. So by the time your CV is published, it is polished. Then there is something called the interview simulator. It's an AI-driven simulator. It's also for free. Go and play with it. Go and practice with it. It can only do you good in preparing for the world of work or when you get ready. So please, it's available to all students. The CV Writer and the interview simulator are both free. So please go and make use of them. All right. I need somebody to give me a color. What's your favorite color? Red, gray, green. And what color did you end up with? Green? Oh, fantastic. So congratulations to you. You win this courtesy of the lab. Right. What color is your favorite color? Yes. Yes. Also green. What you landed up with? No, that's confirmation bias. Okay. Somebody else behind you. What's your favorite color? Yes. Pink. In a pink. What color you landed up with? Green. Hey, there's a lot of green people. Is there something with accounting and green guests? Is there something with accounting and green? Zaid? Oh, green is the color of money. Ah, okay, I understand now, right. All right, there's more gifts to come a bit later. Thank you very much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I've got 2 guests that we're going to bring on for a short discussion. Both of them are in the accounting field, and both of them have experience in the field. One is a friend that I made. Can I call you friend? That I made recently, but she's got well over 40 years and more of experience in the field. She runs a small accounting company, I suppose, that's what we'll call it. And we're going to chat to her and another guest, my friend Zaid, who's sitting in the back. Zaid, come to the front, please, ma'am. Please come to the front. Zaid, I know since he was 22. Zaid, how old were you when I met you first? Around 22, yeah. Zaid has a very fascinating story as well. And he's recently launched his own company called Zay Zay, yeah? What is the company's name, Zaid? Zazy. Zazy Solution. So that's the what is for you guys, right? So his table is there. And I thought, again, for those who came late, the purpose of this particular chat is not to discuss accounting, the technical parts of accounting. Is to discuss about the industry, about your experience, etc., etc. So just go with me, give us 10 minutes, 20 minutes to go through some of the questions that we're going to have, and then we'll have you guys interacting with the guests that are here. Is that okay? Thank you. You guys are going to have to share this. So whoever is holding it, when I'm ready, I'll tell you. Dipti, just check if it's all connected there. All right, let's start off. Let me get a mic for myself. Nobody asked me about my shirt. People know what the shirt is, what this material is. No, isn't it a British shirt? It's called batik. People can Google that a bit later as well. Batik is a special type of design and fabric that comes from Indonesia. Can be quite expensive, but really very nicely designed. Okay, let's go through. Zaid, let's start off with you. Let's talk to our guests and give them a short intro, who you are, your background, and then we can get straight into it.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jeff, also known as Zaid. Brief background about me, where we started, where I am today. Put me in a spotlight there. Thank you. I started my career. I was sponsored by an organization called SANZEF, the South African National Zakah Fund. They have assisted me in studying my profession in accounting. I did a BCom with UNISA. One of the people who was responsible for our performance was Mr. Essof. I remember I was supposed to complete it in record time of 4 years, and it took a little bit longer due to the fact that I wasn't so fortunate. I started studying late. And when I sent him my final results to say that I finally made it, I don't forget to this day, his response was, good riddance. At least you've made it, we don't want to see you again. But then what I did, I registered for another course called, I don't know at UNISA what you guys would call it, but it's the advanced diploma, the one that you do CTA level 1 with UNISA. I did that also. So just to share, I did CTA twice, 2 years in a row, and did not become successful in it. You had to pass all 5 in one exam sitting, so it was one of the most difficult courses I did, solely because I was married then. So my advice to you, if you are married and committed, don't take tough courses. So now is the time to make sure that you study and make it so that when you do get into that next chapter of your life, you're already done with the hard study. Fast forward, I've I've worked for Alexander Forbes, I've worked for Coastal Hire head office. They deal with machinery. Through all those works, I've also participated with youth. I've worked under the organization supporting youth. We also created a program to raise awareness against drugs and alcohol. So over and apart me working, I'm always involved in the community, be it community projects, be it poverty alleviation programs. And lastly, last year, that's where I made a decision to say that I've been working in the field for 10 years. I've got the experience that I need. I started going solo. Look, it was a difficult decision. When you decide to go private, you look at the fact that I own the house, I've got a bond, I've got a car that I'm paying. What will happen if I start my own practice and I don't become successful? But I did not tell my wife of that. I spoke with my creator, make the decision. She was just surprised. I was just there every day at home. So women will have that fear to say of the uncertainty. But one thing, even waking up, going to a job that you are employed at is also a risk, because your job can also, they can tell you that it's done. So I started a year alone in the company. Today, I've been 12 months running the practice. I can say that I've got 3 employees now. The firm is growing. I'm not sleeping, guys. It's not easy. So 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, the light is still on. So as we are growing, we'll still need more resources. We'll still need more students to train. So we are growing slowly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zaid. Just bring a chair over front. This is Mrs. Amida Hill, and she's got her own practice, and she'll tell you, a little bit, as an introduction, she'll tell you a little bit about her story.
Hi, morning, everybody. Morning. Are you all full-time students here at Regent? Are you part-time students?
Some are distance students and some are in person. So those of you who are distant, speak up your hand. Meaning they do it online, and the rest are...
Is that with you?
Yes,
with
they-
Regent?
Yeah, with Regent. All of them are Regent students.
Oh, okay, you are very lucky and fortunate to be that there is a Regent in this day and age, right? In my time, I was born in apartheid. So after matric, we had to go, if you were colored, you go to Cape Town or to university. So we had to go out and board. Our parents weren't wealthy. My father was an upholsterer, but he pushed us because he said education is power. And if you have education, nobody can take it from you. Because if you know about apartheid, I'm not now hampering on apartheid, but I'm just telling you where I'm coming from. He would say they can move you from this place to that place, but they can't take your knowledge, right? And he was just an upholsterer. So when I was young, when I went to university, I was 17 years old. I wasn't focused, and I did a diploma, and I wasn't successful. Then I came back and I worked for many, many companies, right? And then when I was 33, I decided I'm going to now do my BCom degree, right? And I did it with UNISA. And my boss paid for it because he said, you're so clever, I'll pay for your studies, right? When I was 58, I have passed CTA, and I was going to write the board.
So there's still hope for Zaid.
Yes,
Okay.
I passed CTA, and it's difficult. It's not easy because I was also working. Everything that I've done, it was while I was working for companies. I worked for Southern Sun, was for Kersner. I worked for a company called Punchline, and I worked for, once I passed my CTA, I had a meeting every month with some whole lot of auditors, accountants, and then there's one auditor said to me, listen, I need you in my company as a tax manager because I was good at tax. And then I did the board. I didn't make it because I then had also my own practice. So the board is a lot of work. It's 5 papers, 4 hours each. And I think if you come from UNISA, it's not easy. If you were coming from UJ or WITS, it will be easy because those, and maybe Regent, because they have like a board course on a Saturday. And it was free for coloreds and blacks. And you would get, now normally the people that send papers into SAICA UJ, Victoria University, Cape Town University, Wits. So they give you similar questions to what they send to the board. Not exactly the same, but similar. Whereas UNISA, I don't think they send any questions to the board. So it's tough if you studying with UNISA, because you, your own lecturer, you have to motivate yourself, you have to work during the day, study at night. So it takes a special person to be an accountant. You have to be dedicated, and you have to be ethical, and you have to be honest. So that is what companies look for. Now, the big auditing firms won't take you unless you've passed CTA, and maybe they also require you to pass the board part 1, because they don't want to waste their time with you, right? So if you pass board part 1, they will employ you easily, and they pay you very well. I know Deloitte starting off first-year students, 20,000 Rand a month. In my time, they used to pay people 6,000 Rand a month, the auditors. So being a chartered accountant is lucrative. It puts money in your pocket. If you take a comparison, that's chartered accountants now, right? If you qualify, and you will earn 400,000 Rand a month. That is what CEOs are earning at big companies. I won't mention the name. So that is where I am. I've still got my practice. I got 5 staff.
That's fine for now. I'll come to more questions.
Okay.
Yeah. But while I've got you, maybe you can just answer that. A round of applause for maybe a follow-up question is to you, Zil. What's the one thing you wish you knew as a student that would have helped you navigate your early career moves more effectively?
Maybe if I was more focused, because I had children, and then you have a job. When you're studying, you should only be studying. You mustn't be in any other thing. You must totally be focused, because at the end of the day, you're going to reap the benefits. So if you are successful, and don't think when you got accounts 3, you got a degree, because I find that in my practice, that people come there with honors. I'm not talking about CTA now, I'm just talking about the honors, the normal honors in accounting. They cannot apply their theory to the accounting that we're busy doing. They cannot. They got accounts 3, but and the program is, some of it is automatic. My program is almost like bookkeeping, because I come from paper and pen, right? In my time there were no computers. So I don't know why it's so difficult for students not to be able to apply their knowledge. I know UJ gives you accounting course on computer, isn't it? They got Pastel or what? Do they give that? Do you give accounting classes?
Yeah, we got.
So you are familiar
The softwares.
with the software. You are familiar how to process. You are familiar, but you just can't seem to think out of the box. It's difficult. It is difficult to apply theory to practice. It's easy to apply practicals to theory, because now you're busy doing it. So if you had a problem when you were studying, you will have that problem when you work as well. But if you go and work and shadow, like you say, shadow accountants or someone, and you get that experience, that will be it will be in your interest and in your best interest to do that first before you even go and look for a job.
Thank you. Zaid, let me ask you this question. What initially drew you to accounting, as opposed to the thousands of other things out there? And has your perception of the profession changed over time?
When I was in Hartbeespoort, there was a teacher called Mr. Bester. So the way he explained, I was fortunate to go to a world school, so my Afrikaans is also good. So he used to teach accounting in such a way that we ended up falling in love with it. And I also had the opportunity to meet, during a career day at the school, the people from KPMG came over. Every time when I drove past there, coming to Joburg, when I see KPMG, I'll say, one day I'll be there, as a youngster. So that really drove me, made me love accounting more. And then it's what I forgot to mention, I was also teaching before. I've got a teacher's qualification also. So when I failed at CTA for the second time, I did a postgraduate in education, which I passed with 5 distinctions. That just shows you the level between the 2 subjects. I failed this many, that side I passed with distinction. So I believe if I pursued education, I'll be holding a doctorate now. But nonetheless, my perception hasn't changed in accounting, in the fact that I believe that it's something I'm passionate about. I like working with numbers rather than reading a lot of theories. I believe I can make an impact and also educate others in the subject.
Thank you, sir. Let's come to you. So, although you've only started your company recently, so either from your recent experience or from your past experience, right? How do you handle difficult clients or disagreements in the professional setting?
As we're speaking now, I do have those challenges where there are difficult lines and disagreements. I think the most important thing, even sometimes they say what do they call it in the Christian world? Baptism by fire. You enter an agreement not knowing your client. So it all goes back to number 1, make sure that whatever task you take, there's a proper engagement letter. So we always refer to what was agreed upon. And then at the end of the day, if we try to understand where the mistake or disagreement arises from, and we find a proper way to handle it that can satisfy both the client and myself without hurting anyone on financial resources. But we do take accountability of the actions that we do. And sometimes you find a client that when they contract you for a particular scope of work, they expect you to do everything. So in my practice, each and every engagement looks at what you are going to do. If you only want bookkeeping, then you get bookkeeping. But if we assess your needs and tell you that this is what you need to do, the bookkeeping, the financials, the compliance, and then you say that, you know what, I cannot afford that, I can afford this. So you make the client aware. But when the client now sees that they're not compliant in that other area where they didn't hire you for, they expect you to do it. So it all boils down back to sitting down with the client, making them aware, because I'll tell you, between a lawyer and an accountant, clients will pay lawyers first and other creditors first and the accountant last. Yeah, so they don't value accounting, most of the small businesses. So you need to educate them the importance of accounting. So they only see the importance of the accountants when they're non-compliant, when they've got lots of penalties, when SARS is after them. That's where they take it serious. So it's still a journey. We are still going to educate them. Yeah, so we're working with SMMEs to say that we will have webinars with these small guys. So I'm going to teach them about those responsibilities.
Fantastic. What I heard there is basically about emotional intelligence, and I think that's very key. So just taking on that same theme, Mrs. Hill, on emotional intelligence, what skills beyond accounting are essential to succeed in a client-facing role?
Well, you have to understand the client first. You must see where he's coming from. And in my practice, we do everything. We do everything for the client. We go over and above to what we're supposed to do. Because small business or big businesses, they don't know. They just know how to make money. But further than that, they don't know what procedures must be. They will cry when they see our admin penalty. They will be upset if they, every morning they get a SMS from SARS to say you have an admin penalty, and then they would phone me because I do everything for them. So you have to know your client first. And at the first time you meet them, because they already know that, because they've already heard from other clients. So the other clients are happy with me. So if they're happy with me, then the rest will also be happy. Because then they know, oh, this woman, she will go out of her way to promote our business as far as SARS is concerned. Right now, it's not a benefit, I don't even know if it's stressful to be involved in this accounting profession because of SARS. I have the feeling that SARS is trying to push all the tax practitioners out so that they can come in and they know the taxpayer know nothing. So they will bully you. This is what I believe, that they cannot make money while we're there. They can't just give you an admin penalty because we will object to it. Because you have the right to object. If anything they do, they take an assessment, you object to it. And if you know what, if they've taken a lot of money from your client because you didn't do something, then you can't go the objection route because objections take 90 days. Then you have to go with the 21 days and just carry on and pressurize them. And SARS has got a very good complaint department, which is very effective. If you have any issue, any complaint, you just phone that number and someone there will help you.
So just talking on the same theme, I'll ask both of you the same question, and I'm hoping I'll get a slightly different answer. Is that, do you think today's accountants need to be tech savvy?
Yes, definitely. I got my age of tax as well. When I was 62.
Sorry, not technology savvy, sorry, tech savvy, tech savvy.
That's why I employ young people
in
my company, because they are tech savvy. They know what to do. I may not know, I'm stuck now with this thing and I don't know how to print. And I just call someone in the office and I said, come here, you've done this at school, now come here, show me this. So I don't need to have that knowledge. I don't need it. I got people that got that knowledge.
Thank you. I can ask the same question to you. If it's the same answer, then we move on to the next question. But let's
look,
you
have to you have to be tech savvy, and I agree with her, of course, because if you look in the olden days, like she said, they used to do bookkeeping in pen. You've had 5 people, one would do the CRJ, the other the ledger, trial balance. You would have a team doing the bank statements. So now one software does all of that just by processing one transaction.
So the tech savvy extends beyond just the software, right? The actual accounting software.
Yes.
Like Mrs. Hill said, I've got a problem with the printer. I need to sort it out. And when you call the IT department, the first thing they ask you is your printer plugged in? So guys, that's just a joke, but in spite of or despite what we may be teaching at Regent, the tech thing is really in your hands. You need to be good in the words and Excels and the PowerPoints and in the ChatGPTs and the hardware and the software. That's a skill you have to pick up on your own. It may not come up as a reference point on your CV, but when it will count the most? When somebody has a boss, I'm going to use the word boss, or manager, your supervisor, has a technical problem, a technology problem, and you are the one that picks up your hand to say, I can solve it. They'll forget that you couldn't balance the books. But they'll remember that I need to keep this person because this person can draw up this and do this and knows how to import a CSV. People know how to import CSVs. People know what CSVs are. I get some nods here. These are important things, guys.
It's when the bank statement is in Excel format.
But not even in Excel format. It's in an ugly Excel format. In an Excel format, you get in columns A, B, C, D, E, F. CSV, you get it in name, comma, surname, comma, address, comma, income, comma, and you have to make sense of that. And there's a way of importing that information into Excel to give it A, B, C, D. You guys need to pick those things up on your own, guys. Those are not the skills necessarily that we will be able to teach you. So you really need to get into the tech-savvy part of it. How to connect. What is a LAN cable? What is a USB? What is Bluetooth? I know you all know Bluetooth because you all listen to things the whole day. But the devices itself that you're going to use are going to be important. Just on the same part, Zaid, why you got it. I'm hoping you're going to give me the wrong answer for this one, right? What role do, now you're an accountant, right? Just remember this question, right? You're not a teacher. What role do creativity and innovation play in an accounting, for an accountant, or as an accountant? What role do innovation and creativity play?
At the end of the day, you become obsolete as an accountant if you don't adapt and you're not creative at the end of the day. So
that's the wrong answer for me, right? But carry on, yeah.
Yes. So they play an important role. You have to be creative. Be it that you've got looking at your clients. You need to find better ways of doing their books. Be more creative. If they're doing something in a particular approach, you need to find a way that suits them best. I had a client that's in the furniture manufacturing industry. So I needed to find a way in which they could account for their stock. I needed to find a way in which they could look in terms of if you manufacture, what type of software you need to use, how you need to do your stock counts, the way you are keeping your inventory is wrong, so you guide them. So you need to be innovative, introduce them to softwares that's got a manufacturing modules, bills of materials, those kind of things. So the business owner or entrepreneur does not know the correct accounting treatment of the business or a particular class of an item. So you are the one who needs to step in and make them aware that if you are recording any purchase that you do as cost of sales, but you're buying in bulk, so at the end of the day, when you do your revenue, it's periodic, you're going to have a higher cost of sales that's more than your sales, so that it will look like the company is making losses. So you need to factor into account that your sales must be aligned to the products that you're selling, so that your margins can speak correctly on that. So you need to.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. Mrs. Hill, you
Well,
give me your
well,
answer.
the best thing I did this year, not so long ago, a company, I'm very busy because I'm way behind with my work. So this client said he wants to buy cryptocurrency and he needs a business valuation. Like, I think back to when I was doing valuations, it's a long and big process. But guess what? You got ChatGPT. They ask for the financials, you give it to them, they do the whole valuation. And that was so, it was so great for me that I could carry on with my work and not worry, because he said, I must have it by Tuesday. So I said, oh God, and now I'm phoning someone. I said, don't you have a template? Nobody got them. Anyway, I got very innovative people in my office, so they went to ChatGPT and ChatGPT did it, and I looked at it and it was fine. It was great.
So
That's why you must be, you have to be creative. But other than that, you can't be creative with your financial statements because SARS don't appreciate creativity.
So let me ask a question.
And we work for SARS.
That's the last part. That's the point I wanted to capture, right? So where are our lecturers here? Any of the where's the accounting lecturers here? You will have heard of Enron. E-N-R-O-N, Enron. Please, in your next lecture, spend 10 minutes or 5 minutes educating students about Enron. Enron is an American company that went bust. Well, do they still exist? I think they went bust, huh? Early 90s. And they were very creative in how they manipulated the books. accounting, like maths, is an exact, can I call it a science?
Exact sciences.
Yeah. That's why your balance sheet is off by 1 cent, your books don't balance. It's 1 cent, right? There's no space for creativity in the sense that just push this number there and push that number there and make it balanced. So there's a space for creativity in terms of how you service your clients. There's definitely a space for innovation in terms of how you bring in things for your clients or even for your own work. Okay, ChatGPT is an example. But there's no creativity in how you manipulate the books. And if you listen to the most recent example, can anyone tell me the most devastating recent example of huge losses relating to a South African international firm? Can anyone? Come on.
Is it Cobus Visa?
Name? Louder? Steinhoff.
Yes.
Steinhoff. People heard of the Steinhoff scandal? Right? How they were creative in their accounting. One of what was once valued as the most valuable company in the world, overnight lost its valuation because somebody dug a little bit deep into their books and realized that they were manipulating their financials. They were overstating their assets by billions of dollars. And overnight it went crashing down. So it actually talks to being ethical, right? So space for creativity is limited in the workplace, so just be aware of that. Let's go to workplace culture. Zaid, you've worked for many companies before, you've worked with teams of people. This is real as well. So what's the one misconception people often have of working in an accounting firm? Anyone? What's the one misconception that people often have of working in an accounting firm?
Well, if I think of my staff, they're almost like parrots, processing the work, and nothing is important. And whether they make a mistake, which I will pick up when I do the financials, they're just not, what's the word? They're just not dedicated enough.
It's
And
a job.
take pride in their work. And it's not just coming to work. It's knowing that this is the project, this is the account that has to be out by the end of the month, or few companies. And they just sit there and without having any conscience of processing the things correctly, because they're there too long. So they can just do, with just sitting there and without even having to think. Now, unfortunately for me, I only get to do it. I only see all this when I do the financials.
At the end, yeah.
At the end, and it's a late to adjust.
Zaid, ask you the
So-
same question. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so you need to be dedicated and not just think, this is a small company, and these are people's livelihood that you're playing with. Because you present all these things, we work for SARS. There's no any way about it. We work for SARS.
Let me ask the same question to you, Zaid, but slightly differently. I'm sure all you youngsters know it, and as an old man, you can see I do it often enough with my children. When you grow up and you have your own children, you will see what it is like to be a parent. Has your parents told you that? This could apply to the accounting industry. You now got your own business. I don't know what your life was like working for another company. Do you come on time? Do you have good rapport with your colleagues? Do you follow instructions? Now you are the boss, right? And the pressure of running the company and keeping the lights on is on you. Whereas there, somebody will look after us. So give it to me in that context, in terms of the kind of misconceptions that people have of working in an accounting firm.
Okay. Firstly, as you come in as youngsters, you've got people my age that are now over 40 or 50. So for me to, and there's this thing of the salary gap, and if I have to trade you and we're not far apart, then there's time. People don't like training. They'll tell you I've got, it's busy. They'll be busy, they won't have time for you. So they'll just give you a client, just process this client. Just do the bookkeeping, I'll review when you're done. And you'll be stuck because you might think it's easy to do bookkeeping, but they give you a client, and if you look at the bank statement for the first time, you don't even know. You can see someone swiped something at ShopRite. You don't know whether it's a business expense or not. So it will be hard for you to see some other line items on the bank statements. There's the first thing. It's very hard to process a company that you've never dealt with before. You can't call the client asking him over 200 line transaction. What was this? What was it? What was that? Now, you have to try and find a way how you're going to overcome that. Will you call the client and ask him each and every transaction, what was it for? He's busy, but he wants results. And he doesn't have time for you to answer you each and every question. There's the first misconception that you have going to, so no one's going to hold your hand. You need to know. When I started, they've given me a simple thing. I think most of you master it, a bank reconciliation. I had to do a bank reconciliation. I did it, and then the guy called you and said, you are a graduate, you've got a degree, but you can't even do a bank reconciliation because I did it wrong, not in the format that they wanted it to do. So those are the kind of things you'll need to learn by yourself and adapt. Sometimes you'll go back home crying in the taxi or your car because someone shouted you. They don't play. You'll come back crying. Your manager will shout you. You'll cry alone in the canteen. And with my firm, I've relaxed the rule a bit. So mine was established after COVID. So I've introduced that coming to work 3 days, 2 days from home. If I say you start from 8, you leave at 5, some can come 8:30, sometimes you get out cheap earlier. But in other companies, you have to submit a timesheet, you have to clock in with your finger, 8 o'clock. If you clock in after that, it affects your salary. You can even get warning letters, you understand? So it's not that easy. Just
Carry on.
There's something you also asked, I think I'm forgetting.
Carry on.
Okay. So there's the first misconception. Now that I have to put on the lights, it's different now. So for me to try and find clients or look for more businesses, I need a strong team. Like I said, I haven't really marketed my business. Why is that? At the end of the day, the clients, when you have a relationship with them, they are the ones, the way you treat them, they'll market it for you.
Word of mouth, yeah.
Word of mouth, it still works and it's still the best even now. Cold calling doesn't work. People get annoyed. How many times do you get your phones, even if they call it appears as red, you don't even want to know what, because they've marked you as spam. Yeah, but at the end of the day, the best thing is that normally people work with the people they like. And those are the kind of clients that you retain. Similarly, when you walk into an interview room, they don't hire you because you've got a degree and you qualify. It's the first impression you make. If they don't like you when you just walk in there, even if you qualify 10 times better than the other one, they won't hire you. You have to create that impression. People hire people they like. People work with the people they like at the end of the day.
Just taking on that one, thank you for that, Vijay. Cecile, just what do you look for in a graduate or an intern beyond their qualifications? Or what do you think the industry looks for beyond their qualification? Because I know everyone here is aiming for 2 or 3 distinctions, if not more. And they think that that's going to be their ticket to their job interview, right? So what would you look for beyond just their qualification?
How much time they spend on their phone, on their cell phone. I don't want someone like that, although we do have it. Qualifications does matter, because then the person, you don't have to teach them now the basics of debtors and creditors and cost of sales and all of that, because that's that's something, if you don't have a qualification, you can't think along that line. So it makes your job difficult. And they're not productive. So for me, I like, when I look at someone, I do look at their marks, what they got when they graduated, because it's very important to know what level of intelligence.
The technical capabilities, yeah.
Yes, and I had a student like that. He came from Wits. He passed his degree with 90% in most of his subjects in accounting. Then he wanted to become a professional accountant. So I said, why do you want to become a professional accountant when you have got these excellent marks? I said, didn't the lecturer tell you that with this, why don't you change your degree from a BCom general to a BCom accounting and become a CA? So I said to him, you know what, I'm not going to employ you. I'll keep you here until December. And after December, you'll go back to Wits and you will do your degree, that bridging course at Wits. You know, today, he's in his third year of his articles. He's going to write the second part of the board. He passed CTA first time, he passed the board first time. He's at PwC. And I'm so impressed with this person that I could put him in the right direction. I mean, he went to a normal school in Soweto. He didn't go to a private school. And his mother's a domestic. You know, so I used to talk to him and said, you know what, when you qualified, in fact with PwC, you can also take 6 months of your last articles. You can go anywhere in the world because they got offices all over the world. So I'm so, I'm so happy that he followed all whatever I instructed him to do.
Fantastic.
So that's why you need, the character of a person is important. And when he works for you, you can see if he's ethical, if he's just messing around, if he's on lunch, make sure every day 1 o'clock he's on lunch. You have those people. Even if you got a lot of work, but lunchtime is lunchtime. And you can't say anything because the law says you can take your lunchtime. But if you dedicate it, because one day you're going to also not be you're also going to have your own practice. Maybe you're going to even be an auditor where you have your own company. So you have to look at yourself where you're going to be. You don't have to just look at now and see, okay, we must process this bank statement. Because besides, when you're an auditor, when you do your articles and you go out on an audit, you don't have to ever write up any cash book. Everything is presented to you to be audited. So you don't have to know nothing. You just need to do no auditing.
But you have to jump all those loops before you get there, yeah. So I've got 7 minutes more. I'm going to open up shortly to 1 or 2 questions from the floor. But Zaid, coming back to you now that you've got this your own business, right? How do you manage work-life balance? 3 o'clock in the morning, the light is still on. Is there something like work-life balance?
You don't have a life. Especially if you're a practicing accountant. You have to come home, you have to cook, then you're tired, then you go sleep, you get up at 1 o'clock, and you work. So I'm up since 1 o'clock because I'm behind. And the clients want their work because they're getting all these SMSs from SARS, and the bank wants management accounts, so it's just hectic. You don't have a life.
Give us your answer, and then we'll conclude with a hint or a tip for everyone.
Okay. From my side, what I've learned is that to get a proper work-life balance, don't be stingy as a business owner. Create employment, employ other people so that you can have more time for your family. So what I've decided or I've seen as that would work for me is to get these youngsters, get them up to a skill where they can be independent. And some of them will be afraid, I can't interact with the client, but I'll need to let them know that you need to, so I'll give them targets. By the end of September, I want you to be 100% sure of your story on all CIPC transactions. By this time, I want you to know how to do all tax things, send it directly to the client without involving me. So they need to be in control of the client from the beginning to the end of the month without my involvement.
While you go and play golf.
No, not really.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's just equipping them and making them more confident to say that, look, I can trust them with this client.
Yeah, so there's two things in there. Firstly is your potential future employer is looking to delegate work to you for various reasons. Not because they're lazy and they want to go and play golf. I was just teasing about that, right? Because more clients need to come in, more business needs to come in, etc., etc. So if they delegate a client to you with some assurance or with some confidence that you can manage it and you can handle it, it frees them to do other things. So you need to take that role very seriously, number one. The delegation of you taking on a client is actually a testimony for you when you start your own company, number one. Number two, and I'm a bad example of it, so don't look at my stomach right now, but the least you can do is do some basic exercise. Walk, jog. Don't have to do extreme things. If you are into the extreme things, fantastic. I know people who are nutters, they go mountain climbing on weekends without rope. You know, those nutters, right? They're on a suicide mission, right? The adrenaline is good for them. But at the least, guys, at the young age, start developing the habit of walking briskly 15, 20 minutes every day. You will thank me when you are at my age, 55. You will thank me at my age. Eat healthy. Don't have to have a McDonald's every day. Eat healthy. You will thank me when you're 55. So, at the very least, if you do those 2 or 3 small things, and of course we can get into the emotional things of paying attention to your family and spending time with your kids and going to the kids' concerts and sports day, all of those are important. But for yourself, because in accounting profession, like many others, are very stressful. What's your stress outlet? What's your stress outlet? And it's not drugs, right? It's not drugs. A good walk, some chocolate, sits in your stomach, it's okay, is the way you want to go. Let's finish up with 1 or 2 fun questions and we'll finish up and then open up, right? So I'm going to ask both of this question. If you could go back to your 21-year-old self, you could go back to your 21-year-old self. I know it's a long time ago. Yeah.
I wouldn't become an accountant.
Yeah. What advice would you give to yourself? You know, Back to the Future. Are you back in the?
See, those days was simple to become an accountant.
Yeah.
SARS wasn't hectic. I'm talking about SARS a lot because they're the problem. And if you haven't checked and double checked what you're giving to SARS, you will
Yeah,
cry.
got it, yeah, got it.
Everything that comes is an audit.
Mm,
Every financials you send is an audit.
mm,
They want to know what your creditors list. How did you get to cost of sales? So it's hectic. I didn't know that at the beginning. I just thought I was thinking of the lots of money that the CAs earn. They always earn a lot of money.
Drove the nice cars and lived in the big houses.
And yeah, and that's what if I want to be, I don't think when I started out, I was going to become a librarian.
No, that's
Because
good.
I hated bookkeeping.
Where's Sarita?
I didn't even I wasn't even good at bookkeeping in accounting in school.
And you've got your own firm today. Hundreds of people have gone through your door.
Yes.
And you've set people up. Fantastic.
Yes.
Zaid, you're not too, so 21 is not too long ago, but what advice would you have given yourself?
20 years ago, I'd say focus on your schoolwork. Leave the partings, you understand? Rather, at this age, I assume most would be around 21, somewhere around there. This is where you need to invest more in yourself so that you can rather relax later onwards. So we did it the other way around. We partied, played around, and then we only started studying when we were married. So invest more in yourself at that time. Make sure that you got what you need then so that you're set for life.
And the fact that they are successful now is not your role model well, you partied and you are successful now. It was a very, very different time. 2 years ago was very different to what it is now. So just don't take for granted, well, somebody else made it and I'm going to make it as well. Guys, it's tough out there. I'm not trying to put fear into you. It's tough out there. If you get a job, look after it. Right? And we are in an environment now, I mean, if you ask Mrs. Hill if you ever heard of something called mental, what's the word? What's the word that everyone talks about? Mental, what's the one?
Breakdown.
Yeah, I know, there's another term. It's very popular. I can't even remember the term now. It was an unknown thing. People cried in one corner and they went
Suffer
home.
from depression,
Yeah,
yeah.
and all of that. You just
That
take
was
the
something
next-
unknown.
Yeah, there was nothing like that. We didn't know what it meant. Mental health, yeah. What is mental health? 5 years ago, nobody knew about mental health. We only started discovering it after COVID, what mental health was. We went through, guys, tough times. And the reason we're successful is because we continued with it. Nowadays, the first scolding you get, you leave your company and I'm going to go somewhere else. It's not that easy. Work hard. Don't allow yourself to be abused. That's the other extreme. Don't allow yourself to be abused. You've got rights. You've got rights today that we didn't have many years ago. Right? You've got the lunchtime, you've got the tea time, you've got the whatever, all of those. But at the same time, the employer has rights over you. The work needs to be done, it needs to be done. It needs to be done on time. Because ultimately, the lights that burn in the building, your salary that is paid, is by the employer. And if you succeed, the employer succeeds. And if the employer succeeds and the employee grows bigger, you will go bigger, you will succeed. Anyway, that's a father's lecture. Sorry for giving a father's lecture. Let's open up for 2 or 3 questions if anyone has. Otherwise, we conclude with and we'll move on to the next part. 2 or 3 questions. Anyone? Yes, sir.
Question for Mr. Zaid.
Speak loud, please. Right? There you go. Having the guts to speak. Thank you.
Earlier you spoke about how when approaching potential leads, it's not the best way to cold call. But even when you get text from someone that you don't know, you just dismiss it. So how you go about approaching those leads and ensuring that you get the clients?
So currently, my approach is simple. It is through the networks that I have. Yes, you'll have your website. Even on social media, you need to choose your clients. If you are targeting individuals, you do individual texts and things like that, yes, you'd go to Facebook. But if not, you're targeting only businesses, like we only deal with businesses, we support them. I don't market it at Facebook. So I'll have maybe a page on Instagram, for example. You know levels, most Facebook people. You want to go there. You don't. There's a wrong target. So Instagram, yes, and the current clients that we have, you need to do the work that would speak for you to get other clients. For example, where I come from, I've never burnt bridges. That's why you can still invite me today. Everywhere that I've worked, I can knock on their doors. For example, Coastal Hire. I'm still speaking to the franchisor who was a CA, who had me under his wing. Fortunate for me, he had me under his wing. He taught me all the tricks. So today, that franchise is able to, they've got over 150 stores. They are franchisees, which means each and every store must get its own bookkeeper. It's like maybe if you buy a KFC and you own it, you can get your own bookkeeper or accountant to do the books for you. That needs to be in line with what the head office requires it to be. So those kind of networks that we open, it's my approach of marketing through the people I know.
Thank you.
Have I answered you?
Any other questions? Lecturers, you're welcome. Guests, you're welcome to ask questions as well. Anyone wants to ask another question? No? Was it that good? Or here's a question. Carry on.
My question is for all the accountants.
Are you an accountant as well? Okay, so how do you answer that question if somebody asks you, if you were sitting on stage, does it ever get fun? Yeah, yeah. Does anyone want to answer? Anyone's qualified here? Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah.
It's very interesting because every client you work for, everything you do, it's something new, right? So you get to learn so much. So it's very interesting in that sense. So it's fun. If you like learning, it's fun. I know a lot of people don't like studying, me included. Over those 5 years, I was learning my belt. But like, even if you don't like studying, you need to like learning something to have fun in this industry, because otherwise you will be crying yourself to sleep every night. It is very hard. It's not fun in that sense, but I mean, you learn something. That makes sense.
Thank you. Yeah. And I suppose the fun is in the end. Hopefully not when you're 55. but probably the fun is at the point where now you've got your own house, you've got your own car, you can look after yourself, you're not dependent on anything. The sacrifice pays in the end. And that goes for any profession. That goes for any profession. Some of us could only afford to buy a house when we were 45 because we didn't have enough collateral or anything to put towards the house. Right? But today's graduates, the first thing they do is they put a deposit down on a BMW and then they go to work. While they're interns, they go to work with a BMW. Your priorities are wrong, guys. Your priorities are wrong. There's other ways of achieving what you need to achieve. If there isn't any more questions, I want to conclude. I want to thank both of you, Mrs. Hill and Zaid. Thank you very much for, I know it was very last minute. I asked them literally yesterday if they'll avail themselves for this. But I thought it was an important component to bring to this particular careers day, accounting careers day. The technical part, you guys can go and talk your A equals O plus L with these people around the table just now. But know what you're getting into. And if you're already in your third year, whether it's late or not late, whether you can go, go into another route, that's a decision you can make. And in fact, speak to the people around the table here. They'll be able to advise you where you are on your career journey. For those of you who are not doing accounting and would like to get into it, it's an interesting field. Again, speak to some of the people around the room. They'll give you the ins and outs and what's required for them. Thank you very much. A round of applause, guys.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks for watching.
And excel in whatever you do. Okay?
Okay, so Tipri, I think we'll stop the recording now officially. Thank you for those who are watching online. Sorry if the volume wasn't the best. That's the best we could do. We're trying to still figure out why it's not coming out as the quality we wanted. But thank you for everyone that was watching online. For the rest of you, the session is now as follows. I see the muffins have come.